Hey y'all, what's up? We are halfway through the semester. I just took midterms. This semester I only had one midterm, and that was for my property class. The midterm, in my opinion, wasn't as difficult as I was expecting, which is really good. But now that midterms are over, I can focus on pushing all the way through finals, spring break, barrister's ball, which is tomorrow. Super excited to share that. So in today's video, I will be going over different ways to tackle being cold called. So what is cold calling? Cold calling is when a professor randomly selects a student and asks them to explain a topic that they had read about the night before. For me, cold calling has always been super nerve-wracking. So I tend to get super nervous and I struggle to remember the answers, find the answers in all of my notes, and express myself the way that I want to. From what I've seen at Syracuse University, there's different ways that a professor can choose for you to be on call. This can be completely random or assigned. In the random cases, they'll randomly pull from like the roster, just pick your name out. So, Catherine, can you, and then you have to answer. Other ways, there's allegedly a professor who has like a bingo, can't remember what it's called, almost like pulling a name out of a hat, but it's like the ball turner, and everybody's assigned like a number, and if your number gets like called out of like the rotating thing, like you're on call. It's a lot. Other ways that people have been cold called, I have seen professors assign different sections of the room, like quadrant 1, quadrant 2, quadrant 3, and quadrant 4. And then for each day, they're assigned a different number, and whoever's number, that entire group's on call. I've seen small panel assignments, like 4 or 5 people assigned to the same reading. The professor can randomly call on anybody from that group. I personally like it better when there's other people on call with you. That way there's somebody else that can supplement the answer because they also know the material that you read, and it makes you feel like you're not really alone. You're gonna have to deal with cold calling no matter what happens in no matter what form. So these are a few tips on how to tackle cold calling and make sure you're prepared. So the first thing you want to do, even if you're not on call, it's always a good thing to do. You want to thoroughly read through material. Read thoroughly. And when I mean thoroughly, I mean take your time, highlight, annotate, whatever you need to do so that you remember things, and just absorb the material that you're reading. For me, when it comes to highlighting and annotating, I like to color code things. I started using highlighters because it's recommended when you're trying to keep up with information, you highlight things that are important. I was taught by a professor last semester that it might actually help to underline things more so than highlighting. Apparently underlining, you take a little more time and it makes you read the material a little slower so your brain has more time to absorb it. And since then I've been underlining pretty much all of my readings for all of my classes. I purchased at Walmart like a 50 pack of pens that came with multiple different colors, and I have actually color coded my underlinings, so it kind of matches up with my case brief, which I'm about to talk about. If I'm underlining a case, I will underline the facts in blue, I'll underline the holding or the issue in pink. Like, I'll just keep everything color-coded. That way it bounces back in my memory when I see it when I'm on call. Tip number 2. So you've read the case thoroughly. Now what? What else is there to do? You've read it, you have the material printed in front of you. Sometimes a case or the material you're reading will not be as straightforward. So I find it easier to take my own notes on what I've read and organize it in my own way. That way I can find the material when it comes time to respond to a professor in class. The easiest way to do that is by doing a case brief. I plan on doing an entire video about how to brief a case soon, so stay tuned for that. But case briefing is really helpful because it helps you organize the basic breakdowns of any case, the arguments of both sides, the issues, the holdings, everything you could ever need. It helps you organize it a little better. That way you're not digging and reading through the case as the professor's asking you the questions. When it comes to general material as well, it's easy if you make your own notes from it, whether it's on your computer or in writing. That way, not only can you find the answers, but you can also take notes on top of your notes. This is also a situation where I do 2 different colors. I do one color for my at-home notes on the materials, and then do another color for my in-class notes. That way I can compare and contrast what I've been catching on to, what I've been missing, what I need to look for when it comes to looking at other cases and other materials. Tip number 3, pay attention to when other people are cold called, because you can catch on to the different questions that a professor will typically ask. A lot of professors have a method to their questions, so they'll build questions off of each other and kind of head you in a general direction. So, you know, if you pay attention to what the professor asks other people, you can anticipate the types of questions that they may ask you, which in turn can help you when you're reading through a case. It helps you catch on to the material that the professor might ask you about. My 4th tip, and this is something that I only learned this semester, use all resources that you have access to. This includes the internet. Now, I'm not saying that you need to rely on these extra outside sources, but if you're really struggling on a topic and you know that you're going to be on call the next day, it may help to look at outside material to help you understand what you're reading. So for example, if you come across a case that is crazy, you don't understand what's going on, it makes no sense, might be time to find a case brief online. One of the most popular sites that law students use is Quimbee. You can also find free case briefs online, like I think there's casebriefs.com, legalbriefs.com. Honestly, if you just type in the name of your case and then case brief afterwards, there's bound to be one that pops up. Again, you shouldn't rely on these for your material, but it will help you to understand and to prepare for being on call. Tip number 5. The best thing you can do when you are on call is just to be confident in your answer. If you are not 110% sure that you have the right answer, if you're only like 55% sure, say it with confidence, articulate your answer, and then allow the professor to help you and to help you walk through what is correct. Because you may understand something, but you might be a little off. The professor, no matter how evil they sound, they're trying to help you understand the material and make sure that the class understands the material. So even if you're 100% off base, they're going to come back and re-explain the answer. So be confident in your answers. Rock the cold call. Don't be too stressed about it. You're gonna do great. If you have any other questions about cold calling, if you need a confidence boost, or if you need any more tips or advice, leave it in the comments below. I will get back to you as soon as I can. But I really hope that you rock your first cold call and all of your cold calls afterwards. All right, see you soon.